What's up guys, this is Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a full review for the Romancing Festival Candy banner, the second part of the summer celebration. And yes, Candy gives the name to the banner, although I do believe that Lyza is the spotlight here. Candy is a character that can decrease the chance of being inflicted with ailments and also heal the party. Then there is Coppelia, a farmer with pierce and cold damage, and Lyza, a very strong damage dealer that can also buff the party by inheritance. Well, I'm gonna start talking about Lyza. She has a very big focus on damage, hence why we have 112 STR and 120 agility. That's the highest value for agility we have right now in the game. Her endurance and wheel are not that bad with 80 and 85% respectively, but those values kinda suffer since she does not have damage reduction passives. Well, she still has some intelligence because she can inherit debuffs, but it's not her focus anyway. Now, for our passives, we have Focused Energy 2. Weak attack damage increases by 20% and she starts the fight with 12 VP. The second one, called Energizing Focus 2, weak attack damage increases by 15% and when she lands a weak attack, she recovers 2 VP. That's a very good number. But it could have been better. I think that Action Switch would have worked wonders with Lyza. Then the last one, Fired Up 7, increasing damage by 40%. So we have 75% damage increase when attacking with targets, and she starts with 12 and gets 3 BP when attacking with targets as well. Now, for skills, the first one is called Light Key Blast. It's a free, fully UE attack with E power 6 mod. That means that it's gonna do damage similar to a normal attack, but to all enemies without costing any sort of BP. This is nice because if you want to change some cycles, you can take advantage of using a skill number 1 that is free. Now, the second one is called Marine Stream Buster. For 12 VP, you have a triple S attack with blunt and cold damage that is fast. That part's good. The cost is high. Why? Because after she attacks, she enters an evasive counter stance. And when getting attacked with physical direct attacks, she's gonna counter with Dragon Turn. This is a triple S attack, but this time it's only blunt, and also deals critical damage against Dragon and Giant. It will use the rank of the main skill, so the damage scales off when you level up, and with 75% mod, the damage is gonna be good. Well, it will depend on the fight. Some bosses do attack multiple times, but they still have sometimes indirect attacks. Mix it up with direct attacks. I don't think she's a very good counter specialist, but may work depending on rotation. Also, after using this attack, if you get 5 EP on the next one because you just use it the skill number 1, you can probably use the Marine Stream Buster again, so she can at least usually use it every 2 turns. The last skill is called a DSC, or Dream Super Combo. It comes from SaGa Frontier 1. In that game you need to learn many martial arts skills, and after you equip them all, it will unlock in your skill tree. DSC is considered its strongest attack. It has a very big cost there, but here is different. They needed to change, so it's a single target attack that hits between 3 to 5 times with A power, and each hit will grant herself an attack boost that increases damage by 15% for 1 turn, but in reality it only translates into 5 to 7% increase for each hit when she's attacking. But, well, 15 BP, it's a little too high. She can only use this on turn 2, for example, but the damage is gonna be high. She can at least kill building from the current event, and we can compare this to Young Gustav Triple Crush. This is one of the strongest attacks in the game, hitting 3 times with A power translates into the highest 4S damage, as we can see. So, in the case of Lyza, you have the chance of hitting 4 or 5 times. 5 times, it's probably the strongest damage right now. But the average value should be 4 hits. And it will depend. The utility of this is kinda complicated, because if she gets 5 VP per turn because you are attacking a weak target, that means that you're still using 2 normal attacks and then DSC. Is that strong enough to compete with Leon? No. Leon still outclasses, but depending on the situations, if you need to kill the boss faster than Leon, maybe this can help. Well, but it works for farming in challenges as well. With all that said, DSC will not be used all the time. because depending on the event configuration, if there's only one enemy, well, she will not be able to use this. It requires you to have 2 waves in order to save Lyza from the first, so that she can attack in the second. This kind of restricts her a little. I know it's a very big explosive damage, but that's what happened with, well, Mirza, Lunar New Year style. Remember Left Fork, a very strong attack that hits 5 times with E power only, of course. We barely used this in farming setups. Now we have Albert that can use the skill on turn 1 and this changes everything. But on the right circumstances, Lyza will be capable of doing explosive damage. Now we need to discuss inheritance options. If you have the Global Axis style, you're going to take full advantage of the character. The Global Axis style is still pretty strong. It gets stronger over the passaging of turns, and I use her in Remembrance, also used her in challenges where I could just agility cheese. And then she has On Your Mark. This is a skill that gives her heat up, increasing damage potential by 10%, and defense up, decreasing damage taken by 10%. She can use it 2 times, so that she does not take that much damage because she already has 1 damage reduction passive. You can inherit this to kind of fix the problem of the summer version, but there is something else. We have Wave Rush. This is a very good attack. It's fast, nice. It hits with AoE C power, and then after that, it attacks 2 times with E power and hits a column of foes. So it's a skill with 3 hits, and it also buffs agility of all surviving allies by up to 25% on max level. So this skill here triggers 3 different attacks. That means that each hit has a chance to trigger the energizing focus passive. So there's only one problem. The first hit is blunt and cold, but the second and third hit are only cold. Lyza is primarily a cold damage dealer with her first Global Axis style. That means that in Remembrance battle the enemies are weak to all elementals. So there, in content where the enemy is weak to cold, when you use the Wave Rush attack, you're going to recover 6 BP. That's right, 6 BP, doing good damage with a fast attack that also buffs all surviving allies agility by 25% on max level. So she starts the fight with 12 BP, right? That means that she can actually use Wave Rush 3 times in a row in Remembrance and when the enemies are weak to cold. That's actually amazing, and in the future in story stages that have enemies aligned in a column or just one enemy that is weak to cold, she may be capable of soloing. That's very good for farming, and in events also 2 times Wave Rush should be enough to kill enemies if they are also aligned in a column. It's a little specific. Many characters that have column attacks have dual elementals, so well, it should just work here and there. Now, the good thing about Wave Rush is that it buffs agility while also doing damage, and good damage even. There is other characters that can buff agility like Matriarch with her Paean of Victory, and there was a time where we could just keep buffing agility in order to fully evade bosses, and that was a cheese strategy that worked well, till they started releasing bosses that buff their accuracy every turn or their dexterity, and sometimes they can even remove your buffs. Those are still not so common. But there are contents like Wastelands and the Pandemonium against Saruin, where you can still take advantage of fully evasion. And having Lyza together with Matriarch will help achieve some interesting results. You can also add the latest version of Princess White Rose. She has Tadum. That's very nice, as you can see here, and it buffs STR, Dexterity, and Agility. She can cast this many times in a row. There are other characters like Subir, there is Shendu, and other agility buffers that can be used, and this is still something that will work here and there. Hence why I kinda like to have both versions of Lyza to have the possibility of trying to fully evade when possible, but don't think this is gonna happen too much. Then we also have Ride the Waves. This is a skill that's nice because it hits double elements and it also buffs the user agility by 25%, increasing the damage of the SC if you will use her in a long fight. Moving for other styles, from the first limited, you don't get much, because Sky Twister is weaker than DSC 3 hits, Babel Crumble does exactly the same amount of damage as Marine String Buster, and Giant Swing is only to just try to delay a turn. Then from the S style we have Slide Plus, that buffs agility. She does have some intelligence, it works if you desperately need, and her A version has Submission Plus. Besides that, she has many different stun attacks with Tumble, Wind Whistle, and also Suplex. And there is also Punishing Fist, a full AoE attack that can be used 3 times in a row, but this is not how we farm right now in the game. So she's more about just doing Marine String Buster, DSC, or just Wave Rush by Inheritance. Well, in the end, I do believe that getting this version of Lyza, if you have the first Global X, adds a lot into the character, and will allow Lyza to survive a little more in the meta. But, well, she's not essential. Damage on turn 2 restricts the character a little when farming, and she's not that defensive to be used in boss fights, so it requires a very specific challenge in order to, well, bring Lyza instead of Liam, for example. But because of the raw damage output, I do believe Lyza deserves an SS plus grade, and it's the most interesting character of the banner. The next character is Coppelia, and she traded the martial arts weapon for a gun, and this is actually a problem, because martial artists usually have a penalty in their base dexterity. I'm training Coppelia and she didn't reach 200 status right now in the game, while some other characters can reach as much as 207, for example. So it's also bad because I doubt the next version of Coppelia will use guns again, so you have skills that will work right now, but as inheritance will bring some problems. Martial artists don't use dexterity at all, but they did change some status here, like they buffed her STR so that when inheriting martial arts skills, she's still gonna do very good damage. Well, dexterity and agility have the same values, 115%. Her endurance and will are very bad, and she was not made for bossing. She is a farmer with some interesting skills. Now, the first passive is called the Toxinator and Heal. On the end of a turn, she cleanses from all status ailments, recovers around 170 HP, and gets 1 BP. So yeah, Coppelia has 4 BP per turn. The second passive is called Knockdown Energy Attack. On odd turns, starting from the start of battle, she grants herself a heat up that increases her damage for the whole fight by 10%. Turn 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And then, if she kills a target, she will recover 3 BP. That's it. So the good thing is that it starts on turn 1, and this 3 BP gain can help her do some very interesting cycles that we'll discuss later. Then we have Fart of 7, increasing damage by 40%. So when thinking about farming, Coppelia has access to 50% damage increase at all times. Now for skills, we're going to start with the third one, called Overspear Launcher for 9 BP and also 24 LP. Remember that she starts with 99, she can use this 4 times. It deals pierce and cold damage and hits for a row of foes with triple S power. So yeah, Coppelia is a very different type of gunner, dealing pierce and cold damage. This is very different. It also hits critical for aquatic and fish. I don't understand why they capped the 9 BP cost in JP's 10, but it could have been just 8, because we got Claudia, and she does have a 9 BP cost attack that is also triple S and hits, this time a column. But I do believe that since she's sacrificing LP, it could have been cheaper to allow her for better rotations. Because even if she kills a target, she regains 3 BP, that means that by turn 2, she has access to 17 BP. She lacks 1 in order to use Overspear Launcher twice, so she needs help of Anya in order to farm 2 waves, and that's not that good, right? But the attack is strong enough. Gunners are very easy to do damage if you have the Remembrance Gun, and if you don't want to use Overspear Launcher on turn 2, she will be capable of using Spear Gun. This is a 2 BP skill, C power and 18 mod, and also hits for roll. That means that she can kill the first wave and help do damage against the second wave. Sometimes in an event, the first wave has enemies with lower HP, and on the second wave they have more HP, so she can help out. So I still prefer the character to just be capable of using 2 very strong attacks in a row. When you look on Coppelia, you also remember Cordelia, a character with a similar name, and in the latest Platinum style, she can open with a row attack that is also triple S. Not as strong, of course, but it works. And she also has Ice Lance Plus that can be used right after. Or you can use on turn 1 and turn 3, Crystal Strike. They are like best buddies because you can use the new formation that increases STR and Dexterity, and they do the same type of damage, so it's easy to take full advantage of the cycling because of Cordelia being a Platinum style. But it also brings the question, if you have access to Cordelia, do you really need this Coppelia? I don't know. Then the second skill is called Trick Harpoon. For 6 BP, you have a column attack that deals pierce and cold damage with 8 power and 35 mod. Well, this reminds me a little of Grey, that has access to Waterfall Blade Plus, many other attackers as well, and the damage is pretty similar, and Waterfall Blade Plus is Slash and Cold, while Coppelia's Trick Harpoon is Pierce and Cold. It's more unique on the Pierce part because Waterfall Blade Plus can be found in many characters like Impress, Grey, Actor, Katarina, and people have at least one of those or 2. But for Pierce, it can be used 3 times in a row, easily, and you can solo farm story stages. For event stages, hardly you ever be capable, because 8 power is not enough right now to farm waves. Well, with all that said, this is her main gameplay. Opening with Overspear Launcher, then cycling Spear Gun, and then go back to Overspear Launcher. This will work as a 3-turn rotation, or Trick Harpoon 3 times. But, well, she can inherit many different things, and remember that I said the STR and Agility combination is not bad, and she has access to 50% damage increase. Okay, I do believe that one of the best inheritances comes from the last Platinum style, Ultra Earthshaker Plus. It's available in Global, it's a fast attack that costs only 8 BP and has 8 power. I don't know the mod, but by being fast, you can even place her in the back row, and she can use Ultra Earthshaker 3 times in a row if she kills 1 target, because she regains 3 BP when she kills, and she gets 1 BP by the end of a turn, right? So in Final Island, she's pretty capable of soloing some stages. Okay, then she also has this maximum punch attack that is triple S power with 8 PP. If she kills a target, she can keep using that one as well, but it's not that strong, it's triple S with 65 mod. There is a stronger attack now from the first Platinum style. Destruction Doll Dance is now amplifiable, and it becomes a 4S attack with only 9 BP cost, but also 48 LP cost. If you have Anya in the party, she can use this 2 times in a row, but without Anya, she can only use it once, so there is that. But it may help do some very explosive damage depending on the situations. And from the first limited style, there is Automaton. This is a 13 BP attack that kills herself and has double S power 45 mod. Well, it was considered strong from the release, but it recently barely kills enemies, but right now with this new Coppelia it will do bigger damage, so there is that. Now from the Global X version of Coppelia, it's funny because there is Punishing Combo, and this skill attacks 3 different times. If she kills a target with the first hit, she gets 3 BP. If she kills a second target with the Key Blast attack, she gets another 3 BP. It's interesting if this works in some scenarios, but, well, it's not gonna work many times. Well, I guess those are the inheritance options that makes Coppelia an interesting character, but in the end, well, she lacked something. If she was capable of using Overspear Launcher 3 times in a row to compete with the big row farmers, then I would suggest Coppelia for veterans and new players, but as it is, she works, but will always feel like she's lacking to become a real strong farmer. But since she does have some raw power and access to some interesting skills even without considering limited styles, and good damage, she deserves at least a standard SS grade in our tier list. The last character is Candy, and he's a support healer, hence why you don't see that big values for STR and agility, but we do have some good endurance and very good will. Now for passives we have Immunity 4. On the start of a turn, buffs all surviving allies' will, including himself, by 5%, so in 4 turns you have 12.5 on max. And then buffs all surviving allies' resistance to paralyze and confusion by very large effect. Well, this is very similar to Kun that we got in the past, and Kun has the same 5%, but he instead buffs poison and unconsciousness resistance. There are not that many boss fights where you find unconsciousnesses, and even if they have poison, it's not that dangerous. So I do believe that Candy got the best combination, because paralyze and confusion are things that can stop the fight and you have to restart. So, very nice. The second one is called Fluffy Guard, and on the start of a turn he has 37% chance to grant damage block for the whole turn. This is the same passive that he has in his past style. Then we have High Protect Tension to decrease damage taken by 30% and increase damage done by 20. So only 20% damage increase doesn't make him a damage dealer. High Protect Tension is the first time he gets access to a damage reduction passive. Now for skills, the first one is a recovery martial arts skill, so it does not carry any sort of element. It will revive, recover with very good values, and it even buffs the target status ailment resistance. I don't know how much this affects, but it can help in some situations, especially if you are using a tank and you are healing that tank. Then the second one is called Ice Cream Break. For 5 EP you have a single target attack with 8 power, that's good enough. And it will heal all surviving allies HP by around 180s and buff their status augment resistance by a small effect. Well, that's nice. We don't know how much this affects in a fight, but if you need to bring a extra healer, and you can bring Candy, and he will help increase the ailment resistance. See this as a plus. It's not as strong as buffing will. For example, he will try to compete for the same slot as Diana. Now, the last skill is called Ultra Earthshaker Plus. An 8 PP fast attack with 8 power damage. It's actually very good, because he can use on turn 1 and then again on turn 3. It's just so that he can help a little with farming, because his damage potential is pretty lacking. Well, one thing needs to be said, Ice Cream Break is a very nice skill, and he only gets 3 BP per turn. That means that after 3 usages he will be cycling this usually once every 2 turns. His past style actually gets 4 BP per turn. That means that if you really want to buff status ailments resistance, you can buff more times if you are using the first version of Candy. Well, it will certainly help. But now talking about inheritances to use, well, I guess Sweet's Party works because you can use it on Overdrive. It has delay, but in Overdrive it doesn't matter. He gives morale up and heals, so a pretty cool skill. It's just that if you are using this version of Candy, he will be locked on using Ice Cream Break as much as possible. And nothing else will really matter besides sharing fruit when you need to heal or revive someone. So that's Candy. He is a character that is used on boss fights. He can replace a secondary healer like Diana, but not the main one, of course not. And in fights where you need extra will buffers or ailment resistance buffers. But in real challenges, he cannot be the only one. You will be bringing Matriarch with Peon of Peace anyway, and Candy will try to take the slot of Diana, maybe the newest Barbara, or sometimes Time. But those characters are better than Candy in 90% of the time, So here comes the question if you really need him for anything. But it's just an alternative for moments where you need extra confusion and paralyzed resistance, and the cards that you have are not enough to help in that situation. Although I have to say I am yet to see any situation where Candy would be better off than using those other styles. Still, if you miss it out on any of those I mentioned, he will help you for sure. Based on that, he deserves a standard double S grade in our tier list. And Candy has other 2 different styles on JP, and they have different utility, like this one is a damage dealer debuffer, and then we have the other one that carries a little more utility. He brings wheel buff, yes, while still doing damage. Like I said, wheel buffs are still better than just increasing the ailment resistance. And he also has a strong roll attack with blunt and pierce damage. So there's some future for the unit, but I do believe it needs some heavy buffs in order to make it really worth going forward. With all that said, is this banner worth summoning for? In all honesty, only if you have Global X Lyza, I recommend. It's still okay to pull for Lyza as she is, and Coppelia is good enough for farming, and Candy it's good enough as replacement for other meta units, but in the end none of these units are must-haves or bring something new to the table. I will be giving this banner a Bronze Plus award because I do consider it better than Peony's banner, but not by that much. At least here I believe you will find usage for all 3 styles if you happen to get them, with different levels of utility. If you do have Global X Lyza, then this Lyza becomes much better, and it's just another excuse to summon for the banner. And I am summoning here because of that. My target is Lyza and I could not get her yet, only Coppelia. But if you want to save gems, it's okay as well. And anniversary is just around the corner. On next month, maybe we'll get better banners as well. With all that said, this is my opinions. What is yours? Please say here in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you still haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye.